Yo, what's up? It's your girl JuJu, and you're locked in into Court Talk So Walk. It is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, and the snow is finally fucking melting off the streets. The sun is hanging out. Y'all be peeping the sun? It's hanging out a little longer now. Clock the T, clock it. And it seems like there are some people that is on the spring cleaning wave. But listen to me. I'm not here to talk about scrubbing your baseboards or switching your North Face for a denim jacket. I'm talking about the spiritual exfoliation, grinding, manifesting, top tier energy, and most importantly, us raising like the next generation of our Bronx kings and queens to make sure they never have to ask for a seat at the table, okay? So today it's just me and you. We're opening the windows to the soul, letting the breeze in, and throwing out everything that's been sitting in the corner catching dust. So if it ain't nourishing the new season, it's gotta go. So let's get into the grind. So I'm gonna give it like a little quick basketball analogy real quick, all right? So in the NBA, when it comes down to the teams, if you know you're not being a good producer contributing to the team, you eventually, you get benched, right? If you still aren't contributing to the win, the ring, however you want to put it, you eventually got to get the fuck out of here. Period. So my thing is, why don't we apply that same management logic to our people that are in our life? We've got people in our lives who are just taking up cap space and literally draining the energy of the starting lineup, to be honest with you. If they not checking on you, if they're not checking on your kids, if they don't celebrate your wins, then at some point in time, these people only seem to find, your contact when they need a playmate for them. You are basically carrying the weight of like this person's stagnant energy while you're trying to like basically push or sprint forward towards like, your goals, but like, an NBA championship, whatever it is. And that math just doesn't add up in 2026. Okay. People have to understand that loyalty isn't a suicide pact. If you haven't evolved since what, just say for instance, 2010, why would they be sitting at your table in 2026? Just think about that. Okay, some of us are keeping people around out of habit, but that's not loyalty. That is really a hoarding problem. And I suggest y'all go watch the show. Okay, it's just not for people holding shit in their homes. Hoarding is also a mental and emotional thing as well. If you're afraid that you'll let them go, you'll be lonely. But the truth is, you're already lonely carrying people who don't understand your growth. Okay. It's time to like really waive the contracts of these past due people. Okay. It's no hard feelings, it's no social media beef, just business. You have to understand at some point in time that you really need starters for like, your journey. And if you can't, if people can't play their position, then they can't stay in your space. And I feel like, for me personally, it's a time and place when it comes to people being in your life due to growth. People outgrow people all the time, and that's something we should normalize. People outgrowing people not because they have a situation, it's because their life is taking them somewhere and your life is taking you somewhere. And sometimes when you don't have similar alignments, or even if it is different, but the mindset is not in alignment together, like, just say, for example, if I'm a person that goes to work every day, go getter, on my shit, grinding, yada, yada, yada. I have a friend who chooses to, like, take these things for granted, doesn't really want to, like, get up and go get the bag, whatever the case might have been. Sometimes, if you're seeing that consistently over over years, And at some point in time, as you're maturing, as you're getting older, you will want that person to, like, go in the same direction, not of what you have planned for yourself, but just the mindset of, like, you know what, shoot, I'm on my mature shit right now. I'm got to do what I got to do to make sure, like, you put yourself, set yourself up. And at some point in time, you have to realize, like, well, shit, if you're not going to be that for yourself, then you can no longer be a part of that. And sometimes you have to, when you grow away from people, it's okay to grow away from people and then eventually at some point in time come back. You get what I'm saying? Because everybody has to figure out their strengths, their weaknesses. They have to go through their own life by themselves. And the more that we try to hold on to people to, fit them into the lifestyle that is not meant for them at the moment, or maybe just it's ran its course, you have to be okay and content. Remember, I talked about last week being content. You got to be content with certain things. And that's one of the toughest things to do because, people want to hold on to what feels comfortable. And I know that all too well. Okay. At some point in time, you have to realize the people on your team or maybe your partner is not the best player on the team. And sometimes it's not about being the best player on the team. It's really just showing up and giving the effort. A lot of us lack effort in the things that we do. So when it boils down to us having like these relationships with people, we just bypass it like it's nothing. And we're human. And these are things that we go through, these are things that we experience. But we just have to keep in mind that, like, if this person is not showing you any effort, is not putting and we have to be like, aware that, to see the signs when people are not putting the effort in, that at some point in time, it's time to, like, get rid of them. You have to throw the trash away. Because sometimes people don't even, they do realize, and then sometimes they don't realize, um, how they may come across to you. And they could be selfish, just not even just checking up on you. And, you probably being a good person, a good friend to them. And, if you've talking about these things consistently or just even, a couple of times, whatever, and you don't see it, I do think at some point in time, something does need to happen. Okay. Something that definitely does need to happen. Just keep in mind that moving, like growth is a good thing. And I feel like if at some point in time you separate from people because you're having growth in your life, people should really be happy for one another. And that's why, like I had mentioned, like, it's no hard feelings about anything. People will normalize that, once you move on with your life because you don't want to be a part of their life anymore, it's an issue. Like, let's really normalize the fact that, people just don't want to tolerate or probably be around or probably have to deal with certain things anymore, especially if you're not going to put the effort in to show different. You get what I'm saying? Because I can respect people who who, consistently tries to, put their best foot forward and who want to see a difference. I can have people like that in my corner because we probably might go somewhere together versus a person who want to stay in the same space, occupying the same environment 24/7. It just won't be with me. It just won't be with me. And I think even for myself, I have to learn that lesson in different forms, not just like, with friendships, just like, relationships, any relationships, and being, 10 toes on that, regardless of who this person is. But, to really like, put myself first in some situations and to think about that, because I'm a type of person that loves reciprocation. So it's hard for me to break away, from people when I know I can probably just verbally tell them that. But it's the effort, not seeing the effort was really kills kind of everything because it's like, damn, son, like, I would never do you like that, So sometimes when we hold on to people because we're thinking that eventually at some point in time they may give us in return, the thing is, you're never going to get you in return because it's only one you. That's one. And two, we have to be able to allow people to try to make an effort to understand what's going on and to try to like be positive and be better for the future. So that's just, I'm gonna let that simmer on you. And then what I also wanted to sit there and say was like, I do like, on the whole note of like, the whole spring cleaning, right? I feel like there are people out there who be so bent on the cleaning phase of like the physical home, but our minds are like cluttered with like old conversations, what ifs, outdated versions of ourselves that don't even, exist anymore. I feel like, people be sitting in these apartments, cars, whatever you want to call them, whatever you sit at on your couch, feeling like, an imposter because of something, somebody said to you 10 years ago or a mistake you made before you even knew who you were. That's like mental mold, okay? It's toxic, it spreads, and it's gotta be like burnt out. You can't, be walking around in 2026, but have a 2016 failure in your head. Like you have to take the time to, it's time to like really get the brush and, brush those thoughts out of the way so you can like clearly see, the foundation of, who you actually are like in the moment. And like as in today, you can't understand this. You can't run a fast break if you're carrying a backpack full of last year failures. You have to be able to, in my opinion, scrub the self doubt off the walls, bleach the spots where those I'm not good enough thoughts try to grow, and realize like that the version of you that failed isn't the version of you that's standing here right now. And I am an honest living proof of that. The person who failed long ago isn't who I am right now. I'm in another space to have new failures and new success, new lessons. Nothing is really a failure, it's always a lesson. You get what I'm saying? But in order to have success, there is failure, But I understand, there's people who've been through the fire, who's done the work, who's gained the wisdom, but you have to be clear. You have to clear the noise to hear your own greatness. If a thought doesn't pay, just hear this, thought doesn't pay rent towards your future or nourish the woman or man that you're becoming, evict it today. Don't just move it to another room, throw it out on the motherfucking curb. Okay? Like people, it almost kind of goes hand in hand with like, mind the business that pays the fuck you. Okay. If it's not something that's benefiting me, I don't even need to be worried about it, stressed out about it, trying to figure out about it, because all it is doing is distracting me from where I'm trying to go, who I'm trying to be, what I'm trying to do, where whatever. Okay. People have to understand like y'all need to be focused on yourselves, not in a selfish manner, but like be focused on you, what you got going on. Evaluate what your life is about. Evaluate who you are. Evaluate what the people you carry around with. Evaluate, who you roll with. All type of like, everything. Evaluate it all before like, you could basically come out and say anything about anybody else. You get what I'm saying? Because we have a habit of, talking about something, making it seem, well, not saying making it seem, but everybody shit do stink. It's all about how you put your shit out there, how much shit you putting out there to stink shit up. Do you get what I'm saying? But a lot of us have a habit of, you know what, well, this is a situation going on. I'm going to just put it to the side. Probably knowing like, you know what, it's probably not as beneficial as it is to you, but because it makes you feel good in some form or fashion. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure everybody has something in their house that they really don't care too much for, or they got something, but they just like, I'm gonna just put it over here. I'm gonna just figure out what I'm gonna do with it. Yeah, type shit like that. You know what I'm saying? If you're not gonna use it, throw the motherfucker away. If it ain't helping you, throw the motherfucker away. We have a hard time with throwing shit away. And I'm just being honest 'cause I know I do because listen, even when it comes down to relationships, friendships, family relationships, I throw the motherfucker away real quick. And I don't want to be a hypocrite because I am a softie. So I will like, hold on to the last drop, ride or die, and I'm just being honest, like, cause that's me. That's me. So I know. But I'm just saying though, like, that's something that I'm trying to work on as well. Like, if it's not of service, and I don't want to come across in a way where it's like, oh, well, you only want somebody that's going to be beneficial in that type of way. No, I'm just saying, like, if it's not of service, like, being better of just understanding, like, if you're not going to help me or be a type of like, guiding light, assistance, or whatever I can give to you, and somehow you understand and you reciprocate in your own form of fashion, then like, we have an issue. We definitely have an issue on our hands. Okay. So we have to understand that we want people around you to have your best interests at heart. Okay. In some shape or form. Lastly, I want to sit there and say is this. So, as a fellow Taurus, all my Taurus, our season soon be here. Okay, I just have to shout that out. But back on topic, as a Taurus, I know, like, we love the finer things in life, the silk, the stability, the luxury life. But you have, like, I feel like you have to realize that you can't fit the silk if you're still holding on to like polyester. Follow me now. Follow me. Meaning you have to stop going back to places where you outgrew the vibe. Whether it's a block you shouldn't be on anymore, or like a habit of putting everyone else's need before your own just to feel needed. We get addicted, like, to the comfort of our own messes because it's what we know. But the bag you're chasing, requires a different, kind of posture. You can't manifest high level like opportunities while you're still moving with low level habits. And I really felt that in my soul when I just said that, because I feel like things that is going on in my life, like currently, just having high expectations, or just like, yeah, I guess you could say high expectations. And in certain ways, I'm not all the way ready for certain things to kind of maneuver in my life the way I may see fit. Like, people have to understand nourishment requires space. You can't bring in CEO energy if your hands are still full of entry level excuses. Spring cleaning is about making room for the blessings to land without hitting a junk pile of bad habits. You have to be intentional about what you allow into your environment, what you watch, what you listen to, even what you eat. Everybody say, cleanliness is next to godliness. People don't be eating certain, all that type of stuff. It is important, to clear out the procrastination and the people pleasing so you have a clean surface to build, the empire you've been dreaming about. Luxury isn't, just about what you've owned. It's about the peace of mind you have because your environment is curated for your success. If it doesn't add value, it's just clutter. We have to understand that not on the financial note, but emotionally and like mentally. Certain things people just don't have the mental capacity for, where other people do have the mental capacity to obtain and just withhold and hold, like, ride it out. At some point in time, there's gonna come a time, because time keep going, okay? Where you have to be able to allow yourself to move forward because it's uncomfortable. Comfortability is something that makes you feel safe, makes you feel like it's a safe haven. But you can't want to be in a race that's going at 100 miles per hour if the things that you're doing is requiring you, or what you're doing, you're giving 30 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour, and assuming that you're going to get there. You're most likely get there, but you're not going to get there in the time frame that you think you're going to get there in. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be aware, like, you know what, if I'm going to make this move is intentional to see yourself in a better situation, to see like, okay, cool, I'm not going to play about this anymore. And that's what, like, even with this whole podcast that I got going on right now, I've been talking about this podcast. Like, I spoke with this podcast, like, not too much to a lot of people, but the people who I did speak about it with, were excited. And then after a while, it's like everything was just silence. It was no movement towards anything. And it's just like, you know what? The excuses. I had a bunch of 101 excuses about why it wasn't going to start yet, and this and that. But it's about effort. And when I speak about effort, because I had to show myself that, well, listen, if you put the effort in, something is bound to come back out of the effort that you put in. You know what I mean? And keep in mind too, like, if you never hit for anything, then you can't say anything. At least I can sit there and say, well, I tried it out. It wasn't for me. But if you're not going to try it out at all, then I guess we'll never know if it's for you or not. And that's why I say, like, being uncomfortable is, it's hard. because we will never know what's really for us because comfortability lives within us. You get what I'm saying? Like we're so comfortable with the things that we do, the things that we accept. And in order for things to be better, for things to grow, you have to nourish it in a certain type of way. You can't nourish something at a high level with low level shit, with low level energy. It doesn't work that way. Because you can't be like at 10% wishing and hoping for 100%. Shoot, I'm on 100 right now. I may not feel all the way, but sometimes it's okay. But on both sides, you got to keep it straight. And it's hard to walk in that fine line and try to basically figure out what your boundaries are as a person, things that what you'll accept, things what you won't accept. It is tough, but that's why I want us to that's why I'm having this conversation and talking with you guys so you guys can listen, you're not the only one out there who has moments where just trying to figure out certain things of where they need to be, who they need to let go. Because listen, I've been around plenty people in my whole entire life. And I've basically learned how to put I've learned as far as friends wise, I've learned how to position people. I can't say for family or intimate relationships, whatever the case is, but definitely for friendships, definitely because I learned at a very, not say early age, but, early stages of different friendships, what was for me. And, if I'll continue to basically stay in those type of friendships and those environments, how, probably where I was going to end up. And I didn't want that for myself. You get what I'm saying? And, truth be told, when I was younger, all that block shit is all cute. And I'm just keep it a buck with you. All that block shit is cute when you're younger. Females love being on the block when they're young. Young, dumb, and full of cum. Niggas too. It's the truth. But as you get older, there's a certain level of just maturity that you need to uphold of just this is not me no more. And at a certain point in time, I just can't be chilling on the block. No cap. Prime example, one of the girls that I know, she's a homegirl of mine's. And we been friends for I would say so for some years, probably for about 8 or 9 years. Well, not say friends, but really known her. I could say yeah, friends, whatever the case is. It just kind of started off because I used to talk to her brother, whatever the case is. I used to always pull up, to where they was at, which was Soundview. I used to go over there with cases, and I ain't gonna hold you. We be outside, but we young. We 19 years old, 20 years old outside, thinking we the shit. And then eventually after a while it was just okay, this is the thing. This it became the norm of yeah, we chilling, we outside today, what we getting into later, going to a party, finding a party, finding a house party, whatever the case is. All right. It wasn't until this age now, the same homegirl, I pulled up on her. She was like, we want to chill, whatever, drink for a little bit, what the case is. I'm like, all right, whatever, bet. So her cousin ends up calling. Mind you, I don't live in the Bronx anymore. I don't had nothing to do with the Bronx besides go to school there. That's it. I don't live there. I don't shop there. I want to, but it's just inconvenient for me. You know what I mean? Her cousin ended up calling on the phone. They see me, so they ain't seen me since God knows when. We take a cab over there, and soon as I get out this cab, my anxiety just shot all the way the fuck up. The amount of people that was outside sitting, I could not believe. And I'm like, well, damn. We was doing this just about 10 years ago. You trying to tell me y'all doing the same thing 10 years later, just about 10 years later? That's where comfortability, my comfortability. I couldn't stay long, because I'm just nah, it's nothing wrong, but it's this environment is not me. I don't even play with environments like that. If I'm not safe, I'm not going. I don't play none of that. You get what I'm saying? It makes it even worse for me to even be outside in somebody else's projects, and it's mad people just I be looking at them like, y'all my age or probably even older. My peace of mind is different than y'all peace of mind. I cannot be chilling in front of nobody's projects, sitting there blowing down like hookah or bud. Like, I can't do that. I need to be comfortable. You get what I'm saying? If it's hot outside, nice day, okay, cool, but I'm definitely not gonna be here all day. That I can't do. I need to be in the comfort zone. People be comfortable with normalizing shit like that and hood shit. And it is what it is. I'm calling it what hood booger shit. Calling it what the fuck it is. I can't do that. Like, you could go out somewhere and sit down and do a hookah, but I just can't be nah. Like, that was traumatizing for me because I'm just like, I told homegirl like never the fuck again. Never the fuck again because what the fuck is this? Like, the fuck? Nah. Mm-mm. 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 But listen, I've learned to, like, you know what? Put people where they need to. If I know, like, okay, cool, well, I'ma just see you when I see you. You know what I'm saying? And it's well known that way. Cause they'll tell you in a heartbeat, we do not see JuJu. And I'm glad because it ain't safe. It ain't safe. And before, like, y'all try to fuck with my mental and everything, whatever y'all got going on and whatever the life y'all living over here. That's not me. Not anymore at that. You get what I'm saying? You young and you know what I'm saying? Listen, I got kids now. And some of them have kids too. I'm pretty sure they do. And they don't even give a damn. I give a damn. So you just gotta, like, put people where they need to be. I'll come see you, but I just not won't see you over there. And I promise you, I really see homegirl at her spot. Like, I'm not going over there in the mix with everybody. Like, no, you want to see me? You can come to my house, or I'll go to your house, or we could go to the park. We could go wherever you want to go. Hood shit is a no because they already know my body. I'm not even doing that. All this shit, I don't know who these people are. It's just not working out that way. You catch my drift? All right, hopefully y'all caught my drift because I don't even play them games. I'm scary Mary. That's scary Mary and don't give a damn. Like, but anywho's, but I got one thing I want y'all to do. Okay, so I want you guys, like, to pick one thing, just one. It could be a person or a habit or even one old resentment that is like officially past due. Okay, and I want you to give it the boot, like kick that shit to the fucking curb. Bleach the spot where it used to stay and don't look the fuck back. If it's a person, don't check the Instagram. Don't wonder if they're okay. Just focus on your own garden. Okay. You have to be able to do that. You have to be able to focus on what you're trying to grow, what you're producing, because nobody don't want no garden with no flowers now. I'll tell you that much. So we got to get it the fuck together. Okay. We really do. But, I feel like this episode was very much pleasing to the soul. As we are ending, I just want to say thank you guys once again for the people that are like consistently coming back, listening, or just like even sharing. I do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. It does help me want to give you guys more, especially with the videos as well. Like I said, everything is I'm like it's self-taught. I'm doing this. And I just like, want you guys I just appreciate you guys just being along the journey with me. The future is up and it's stuck and it's lit. So I just can't wait to see our better days just as, your host and, you guys as my audience to just be better and better, and to get better down the line. All right. But this has been another episode of Court Talk Soul Walk. I am your host, JuJu, and I am rooting for each and every one of us. I'm rooting for each and every one of us to make the best decisions, much wiser decisions, mature decisions of what we want to do in our life, how we decide to place people, who we need to let go, who we need to let in, the places that we're trying to go, the places that we need to let go. I'm rooting for us in each and every way. Okay. Just remember to, like, be yourself, be you, communicate that like as much as you can so people can see, like, who you are on the outside and on the inside. Okay. Like I said, I am your host, JuJu. This is Court Talk Soul Walk. And I just want you to remember, keep your soul in alignment, your head in the game, and your heart in the walk.